Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. The Saints are still searching for an offensive coordinator, and it appears they are searching in a specific corner of the store. Nick Underhill from New Orleans Not Football has reported a number of interviews that the Saints have conducted, and many of them come from the same tree. It's the McVay, Shanahan, Rams, 49ers, young, fun tree. And quite frankly, that sounds great to me. You never know for sure when you grab someone from a very successful organization and coaching tree how much they've gathered and what they can learn. I think LSU offensively learned in 2021 that sometimes just because somebody worked with somebody else that they don't necessarily have the same acumen and can't necessarily do exactly the same things that said successful person has done just because they were in the same meeting rooms. But I think it's worth a shot because you look around the league and you see McVay and you see Shanahan and you see McDaniel and you see a lot of these guys winning a lot of games and scoring a lot of points and doing so in a creative way. And I feel like the Saints were not very creative the last couple of years. And it may be because you relied on a guy who was in the same meeting room as a guy for a long time, Pete Carmichael to Sean Payton, and you didn't quite have the same acumen. So here's some names that Nick Underhill has reported have interviewed and kind of their credentials and where they come from. Zack Robinson is one. He's the quarterback coach and passing game coordinator for San Francisco. For the Rams. He was a 3-year starter quarterback at Oklahoma State and then played 4 years in the NFL. After he finished his professional career, he prepped quarterbacks for the combine and the draft. He joined the Rams in 2019 as Jared Goff's quarterback coach, worked with the wide receivers in 2020. He's worked with Matt Stafford since then, and obviously has spent a lot of time under Sean McVay and is a guy that Sean McVay trusts a lot. And so I think Zack Robinson's environment the last few years would suggest he's been in a really good spot and could have a high upside as an offensive coordinator. Another name to look at is Dan Pitcher. He's the Bengals quarterback coach. Now, he may be in line to be the Bengals offensive coordinator because their offensive coordinator, Callahan, just left for Tennessee. So Pitcher may not be available. If Zac Taylor determines that that's the guy he wants to elevate from quarterback coach to offensive coordinator, well, that may happen. Pitcher's been with Cincinnati since 2016. He's been an NFL coach for 12 years. 8 of those have been with the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, he's had a pretty good quarterback to work with there over the last couple of years. But Zac Taylor, again, from that young offensive tree that everybody's trying to pick from, and it makes a lot of sense. Clint Kubiak, another young coach, he's 36 years old. He was actually on Texas A&M staff as an inside wide receivers coach and graduate assistant for the Johnny Manziel, Mike Evans era, right there under Kevin Sumlin. He coached quarterbacks in Denver. He coached quarterbacks in Minnesota. Kirk Cousins was working under him in Minnesota for a couple of years. Currently, he's the 49ers passing game specialist. And right now, I think the 49ers run as creative an offense as really anybody in football. I would put the Dolphins right up there in terms of just creativity. I'm not talking about just purely effectiveness. I'll tell you this. As someone who goes to at least, well, I got all the LSU home games at the very least, 8 of those, usually mix in a Saints game here or there. Like, I watch a fair amount of football in person every year. And when I saw San Francisco in the Superdome in December of 2019, it was actually the same day that LSU got selected number 1 in the college football playoff, the day after the SEC championship game. But it was for the 1 seed in the NFC. And the 49ers were running stuff in front of me that day that was noticeably more creative than I normally see. I mean, guys in motion, guys running free, misdirection, ball handling in the backfield. It was eye-opening to me as a viewer to watch how creative they are, and they've obviously had a ton of success no matter the quarterback. That was a Jimmy Garoppolo team. They've plugged Brock Purdy in, and they've still been very good on offense. So I think Clint Kubiak has been in a great situation the last few years, and he obviously grew up as a coach being Gary's son. And the last one, I'll be real honest with you about. And I think maybe there are a couple of you who might agree with me or see this the same way. Brian Griese got an interview, and if you asked me 4 hours ago what Brian Griese does, I would say, well, he works for ESPN. Like, I didn't even know he left the booth. I knew he was doing TV. I know he was doing Monday Night Football. I thought he was still doing TV. In fact, not. He left the Monday Night Football booth, and he's been coaching quarterbacks at San Francisco. So that's a double deal. Clint Kubiak's the passing game specialist there. Brian Griese is the quarterback coach. What those two things are, whatever. They're all in the room with Shanahan, and they're doing a really good job moving the football and scoring points. And while Brian Griese did step away from the playing and coaching aspect of things, he was doing TV, and he was very much involved in what was going on in the NFL. So these are 4 names, all of which kind of hail from the same direction, all of which are maybe looking for that next step up. You're not looking for a current offensive coordinator in any of these situations. These are quarterback coaches and passing game coordinators and that type of thing. But they come with, I think, creative ideas that maybe the Saints have been lacking. You read these analytics pieces from different writers and different outlets and different places talking about how little the Saints motioned pre-snap and how ineffective the run game was traditionally and all those types of things. And I feel like that the Saints are trying to move away from that, and I applaud them for it. This has been an organization for the last 5 years that has decided, you know what, we're just going to promote from within. Dennis Allen was a promotion from within the first time defensive coordinator and a promotion from within from defensive coordinator to head coach. Pete Carmichael was a promotion from within, from offensive assistant, whatever he was, to Sean Payton, to the offensive coordinator. You're not bringing in new ideas and new information. You got stale. I'm all for continuity, but not just for continuity's sake. When you fall behind, continuity's got to go out the window. You got to disrupt. And these, I feel like, would be disruptors. There is no guarantee that Zack Robinson is Sean McVay. There's no guarantee that Dan Pitcher is not just a product of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine. Like, maybe that's why they're good. Clint Kubiak and Brian Griese are working for Kyle Shanahan, who's thought of as one of the best coaches in the National Football League. So none of these hires are sure things if one of these guys is the guy. But I feel like they're fishing in the right pond. It's a copycat league for a reason. It would not be a copycat league if every time you tried to replicate something that another organization did, it failed. It's a copycat league because teams take these successes and go try to pick from them, and a lot of times success comes with it. Wasn't necessarily the case for those who were trying to grab Bill Belichick assistants over time. That ended you up with Mangini and Josh McDaniel, Matt Patricia. That didn't seem to work. This is working. It's working in LA. It's working in San Francisco. It's working in Miami. And I think it could work in New Orleans if you get the right guy. The Saints have decided what they're going to do at the top. This is the one real shakeup you can make. Your defense is going to have essentially the same staff. You're keeping the same group in the front office. You're married to a lot of these big contracts with Carr, and you know the list. The one real change you can make in this organization in the offseason is what the structure and productivity of this offense is. And these are the guys that you're apparently looking at to make that change. I'm all for it. I think it's a good place to start. We'll see what the end result of it is. They don't have to be in a huge hurry. There's no transfer portal window or any recruiting that needs to be done on the NFL level. You get to hire right at the right time. Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.